Before we begin, I want you to attempt something profoundly difficult, something that stretches the limits of human imagination itself. Close your eyes, if you can, and remove every object from your mind. Not just planets, stars, and galaxies, but the concepts of light and shadow, warmth and cold, form and emptiness. Remove direction, remove location, remove time. Strip away the very idea of space. What you're left with is not darkness, because darkness still occupies a place. It still exists somewhere. I want you to imagine the absence of all existence, a state so foreign to human experience that our languages barely contain the words to describe it. A perfect, silent void with no beginning, no boundary, and no possibility. A place, or perhaps a non-place, where nothing can occur because nothing is. Let your mind sit there for a moment in that impossible stillness. Feel how the mind tries to reject it, how instinctively we push back against a reality without existence. Because the human brain evolved inside a universe of sensations, and imagining the opposite is like asking a fish to imagine dry land, long before land ever existed. Now ask yourself the most ancient and most unsettling question ever conceived. Why is there something instead of nothing? Why did the universe appear? Why was existence permitted to bloom out of emptiness? This is not a small question. It is the question that lurks beneath every scientific theory, every philosophical debate, every spiritual story that humanity has ever created. Why does reality exist at all? Why is there a cosmic stage instead of endless, eternal silence? And even stranger, why does this universe follow rules? Why does it generate beauty? And why does it produce thinking beings capable of asking these very questions? The shimmering galaxies stretching across tens of billions of light years, the birth of stars inside glowing nebulas, the elegant architecture of atoms and molecules, the delicate tuning of cosmic forces, none of this was guaranteed. None of this had to happen. Yet here we are, suspended in a cosmos that seems impossibly fine-tuned for complexity, motion, and meaning. Welcome to the greatest unsolved mystery in human understanding, the universe itself. A colossal, ancient, unfathomable entity whose origins, purpose, and destiny remain shrouded in layers of mystery so deep that even our most advanced science touches only the surface. Over the next minutes, we will travel through the most extreme environments known to physics, from the titanic superclusters that shape the cosmic web, to the violent births and deaths of stars, and into the abyss of black holes where the known laws of nature collapse into paradox. We will shrink ourselves down to the quantum scale, where particles flicker in and out of existence like thoughts, and where reality becomes so uncertain that even observation can alter its behavior. We will explore concepts that blur the boundary between science and philosophy, concepts that scientists discuss quietly, cautiously, aware that the answers might fundamentally redefine what it means to exist. Make no mistake, this is not just a documentary. It is an expedition into everything we do not understand yet. An expedition to the edges of knowledge, where theory and mystery collide. Along the way, you will encounter ideas that are beautiful, terrifying, humbling, and awe-inspiring. You will discover that the universe is stranger than science fiction, more breathtaking than any imagination, and more mysterious than any story humans have ever told. And I must warn you, the deeper we go, the stranger it gets. At first, the mysteries of the universe seem vast but distant, out there, far away. But slowly, as our journey continues, you will begin to see that the universe is not a silent backdrop surrounding us. It is the very fabric we are woven from. Its mysteries are our mysteries. Its origins are our origins. Its fate may be tied to our own. By the end of this journey, you may find yourself asking questions you never considered before. Is the universe conscious in some cosmic sense? Are we living inside a multiverse? Is reality a single layer or one of many hidden dimensions stacked beyond perception? And why does the universe seem so determined to create complexity, including life? This is your invitation to step beyond the limits of ordinary thought, to leave behind the familiar and enter the unknown, to stare into the vastness of existence and feel it staring back. Prepare yourself, because everything you think you know about the universe is about to be challenged. If there is one quality that defines the universe more than any law of physics, more than any fundamental force, it is this: contradiction. Not the simple kind, not the kind you can resolve with a clever explanation or a neat equation. No, the contradictions of the universe are profound, breathtaking, and sometimes unnervingly poetic. They sit at the heart of everything we think we understand and everything we still fail to grasp. The universe is ancient, unimaginably ancient. It has existed for nearly 14 billion years, long before Earth formed, long before the first star in our galaxy ignited, long before the atoms in your body ever existed. Yet for something so old, it behaves with the wild impatience of something young. Its expansion is not slowing down with time. Instead, it is speeding up, racing outward as though driven by an invisible urgency. Imagine an elderly being that somehow grows more restless, more energetic, more unpredictable with age. It is a paradox wrapped in cosmic silence. It is elegant, almost artistic in its structure. Galaxies arranged in patterns that resemble neural networks. Cosmic filaments that stretch across the universe like luminous bridges between islands of matter. Stars that form, live, and die in cycles so rhythmic they resemble cosmic breathing. And yet this elegance hides a violence so extreme that it defies comprehension. Supernova explosions that can outshine entire galaxies. Black holes collapsing matter into infinitely small points. Nebulas that are both birthplaces of stars and graveyards of cosmic debris. The universe is a masterpiece painted with beauty and destruction in equal measure, serene at a distance, but terrifying when examined closely. It also feels infinite. When you look up at the night sky, when you consider the billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars, the sheer scale gives the illusion of endlessness. And yet, according to our best scientific understanding, all of this, every particle, every star, every atom, every photon originated from a single point, a singularity smaller than a grain of sand. Everything you have ever seen or will ever see began from something so small and so dense that our laws of physics simply fail to describe it. The infinite, born from the infinitesimal. Another contradiction, another unsolved riddle. But the greatest paradox of all is this: the more we learn, the less sense the universe seems to make. Every time we peel back one layer of understanding, we discover 10 more beneath it, each stranger and more mysterious than the last. It is almost as if the universe is not simply complicated, it is deliberately, fundamentally incomprehensible. Like an ancient code written in a language we have only begun to decipher. We know that galaxies rotate too fast for the amount of visible matter they contain. Based on what we can actually see, they should be flying apart into chaos. But they don't. Something invisible, something massive is holding them together. We call it dark matter, but that name is nothing more than an admission of ignorance wearing a scientific coat. We can't see it, detect it directly, or explain its nature. And yet we know it must exist because the universe behaves as though it does. We also know the universe is accelerating outward. Not drifting gently like a leaf on a river, but being pushed forcibly, relentlessly, by something we cannot detect or understand. We named it dark energy, as though giving it a term would give us control over the idea. But the truth is, dark energy makes up most of the universe, and we understand it less than we understand the depths of our own oceans. It stretches space itself. It shapes the future of the cosmos. It is the single most dominant entity in existence, and we do not know what it is. And then there are the patterns, the faint imprints on the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in the universe that reveal tiny temperature differences across the sky. These patterns should not be there if the universe were random. They imply structure, symmetry, and something deeply strange happening in the earliest moments after the Big Bang. Some scientists believe these patterns may hint at physics beyond our universe. Others think they may be fingerprints of cosmic inflation. Others whisper about even stranger possibilities. With every discovery, the puzzle becomes clearer and more confusing at the same time. It's like assembling a massive cosmic jigsaw puzzle, only to realize that half the pieces are missing, and the image you thought you were assembling might not be the image that truly exists. You're building a picture, but someone or something has hidden crucial pieces from view. Now, before we drown ourselves in too much existential dread, let's hit pause for a moment. A quick mental breather. Have you ever tried explaining dark matter to a friend who gets their science from TikTok, celebrity gossip, or reality TV? You watch their face as you say, "There's this invisible stuff that makes up 85% of all matter, but we can't see it or detect it directly." And they look at you like you're trying to sell them a gym membership. The universe humbles everyone equally, whether you're a physicist or just someone who accidentally clicked on a space documentary at 2 a.m. All right, pattern interrupt complete. Now, let's continue, because the contradictions only get stranger from here.
Everything begins with a question so overwhelmingly vast, so fundamentally unsettling, that the human mind instinctively tries to turn away from it. It is the question that sits at the root of every scientific theory, every philosophical argument, every religious story, and every attempt humanity has ever made to understand its own existence. How does something explode out of nothing? How does a universe, with its galaxies, its particles, its laws, its time, its consciousness, erupt into being when no space, no energy, no matter, and no before existed to support it? The Big Bang, contrary to the way it's often described, wasn't an explosion in space. There was no empty darkness waiting for the blast. There was no cosmic void lying in silence before creation. Instead, the Big Bang was an explosion of space itself, the sudden, violent, all-consuming expansion of existence from a primordial state smaller than the smallest possible point. If you imagine the universe as a single coin, the moment of its birth stretched it to the size of a galaxy in less time than it takes you to blink. This event, known as cosmic inflation, happened so quickly that the laws of physics we rely on to explain motion, cause, and time simply break. It was expansion faster than the speed of light, faster than any intuitive notion of growth, faster than our minds are equipped to comprehend. But here is the real nightmare, the part that keeps cosmologists up at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if the universe is far stranger than any of us are prepared to accept. We do not know why it happened. We know inflation happened. We see its fingerprints in the leftover radiation from the early universe. We see the uniformity of the cosmos, the cosmic smoothness that inflation neatly explains. But why it began? Why it ended? why it chose the laws of physics we have today instead of infinite other possibilities. These questions remain unanswered. And stranger still, we don't know what was before. In fact, we don't even know if the word before makes sense. Time, according to Einstein's theory of relativity, is not a universal stage upon which events unfold. It is a dimension, a property of the universe itself, which means that if time began at the Big Bang, then asking what happened before the beginning of time is like asking what's north of the North Pole. The very language collapses. Cause and effect dissolve, and we are left facing a truth so dizzying it borders on the spiritual. The universe may not have a beginning in the way we imagine beginnings. Still, scientists have tried to push beyond this boundary, offering theories that stretch our understanding to its limits. Some propose that a previous universe collapsed under its own gravity, shrinking into a dense point and then rebounded, a cosmic heartbeat in an eternal cycle of expansion and contraction. This is the Big Bounce model, a universe that dies only to be reborn endlessly, each cycle giving rise to the next. Others suggest that our universe is just one bubble in a vast multiversal foam, a cosmic sea where universes constantly pop in and out of existence like flickering sparks, each with its own laws, dimensions, and physical constants. In this view, our universe is not unique. It is simply one bubble that grew large enough for stars, atoms, life, and consciousness to emerge. And then there is the most haunting theory of all, the one that keeps physicists awake long after the equations have been erased from the blackboard. The possibility that the universe created itself from a quantum fluctuation, a spontaneous ripple in the fabric of pure nothingness. According to this idea, the universe emerged not from a prior cosmos, not from a divine spark, but from the laws of quantum mechanics themselves. A literal something from nothing, a vacuum that wasn't truly empty, a sea of potential energy capable of birthing space-time itself. A universe that comes into being the same way particles appear and disappear at the quantum level, unpredictably, uncaused, almost effortlessly. If this is true, then existence is not a miracle. It is a statistical inevitability. But hold that unsettling thought for a moment, because later in this documentary, we'll explore evidence suggesting that our universe might not be the first, or the only one, or even the last in line. The clues are out there, hidden in radiation, gravity, and the fabric of space-time itself. And that is your first cliffhanger.
To unravel the universe's greatest mysteries, we must take a step so small that it becomes incomprehensibly large in meaning. We must journey into a dimension beneath atoms, a realm so fundamentally alien that our intuitions collapse at the threshold. This is the quantum domain, the birthplace of everything, the root operating system upon which the visible universe runs, and the place where reality stops behaving like reality. It is here, in this microscopic abyss, that the universe reveals its most unsettling truth, that the cosmos is not built from solid objects, but from possibilities, from flickers of existence that tremble on the edge between being and not being. In the quantum world, particles do not have positions, they have probability clouds. They do not follow paths, they follow mathematical waves. They do not behave, they suggest. Existence itself becomes a negotiation between what could happen and what actually unfolds. A single electron can exist everywhere and nowhere. Two particles can communicate instantly from opposite ends of the universe as if distance itself is an illusion. And space,
The vast emptiness we once imagined as a neutral background turns out to be a boiling ocean of energy, where virtual particles continuously burst into existence and annihilate themselves faster than time can register. This isn't just strange, it's catastrophically incompatible with the world we experience. Because at human scales, planetary scales, galactic scales, the universe behaves with elegance and consistency. General relativity tells us that gravity is not a force, but the bending of space-time itself. Stars orbit their centers, planets follow a clean ellipse, light bends with perfect predictability around massive objects. Everything fits into a cosmic geometry so precise it borders on poetic. But beneath that poetry is a contradiction so deep it fractures the foundation of physics. Quantum mechanics and general relativity, the two pillars of modern science, do not agree. They cannot be merged. Their equations explode when placed together. One describes a universe of smooth curves and continuous fields. The other describes a universe of abrupt jumps, violent fluctuations, and infinite potentialities. Both systems are correct, but only within their own domains. And that means we are missing the true underlying rulebook of reality. This clash is not philosophical, it is physical, because there are places in the universe where both rulebooks apply at the same time and break each other apart. The most dramatic example is the inside of a black hole. At the event horizon, gravity becomes so intense that space-time folds in on itself. But as you fall closer to the singularity, distances shrink to quantum scales. Suddenly, the smooth elegance of relativity collides with the chaotic turbulence of the quantum world. Gravity spikes toward infinity. Quantum fields explode with uncertainty. The equations that once predicted stellar motion with perfect accuracy now produce nonsense. Reality becomes undefined. Physicists call this the quantum gravity problem, but that name hides the terror beneath it. Because within black holes is the information about the birth of the universe, the nature of space and time, and the fate of everything that exists. And right now, we cannot read it. Our theoretical tools fail. Our mathematics shatters. The universe is telling us very quietly but very firmly, you do not yet understand me. This is why the quantum realm is not just small, it is foundational. It forces us to confront questions that cut to the bone of existence. If particles do not exist until observed, then what was the universe before observers existed? If space is a fluctuating field of energy, then is space-time itself just another emergent phenomenon? If quantum events are inherently random, then why does the universe appear structured, ordered, mathematical? And most disturbing of all, if the rules of reality change at different scales, is reality even real? Later in this documentary, when we descend into black holes and confront the beginning of the universe itself, this tension becomes the key to everything. Because somewhere, hidden between quantum uncertainty and gravitational certainty, lies the true theory of the cosmos, the one that will finally explain dark matter, dark energy, space-time, information, and the origins of existence. The deeper we go, the stranger it gets.
Look around you, not with the limited comfort of ordinary perception, but with the unsettling awareness that everything humanity calls real, every atom that forms your bones, every star that decorates the night sky, every swirling galaxy, every planet, every mountain, every ocean, every memory, every scientific discovery, every piece of cosmic history we have ever observed, measured, photographed, or theorized about, all of it, absolutely all of it, makes up only 4.9% of the universe, a number so absurdly small that it should challenge your very sense of existence, because what this means is that the visible universe, the
cosmos we navigate with telescopes, satellites, equations, and theories is nothing more than a thin cosmetic layer floating atop a much deeper, darker, and more mysterious reality that dwarfs everything we understand. The remaining 95% is not hiding behind gas clouds or lurking in the shadows of distant galaxies. It is fundamentally invisible, a form of existence that refuses to interact with light, refuses to absorb or emit radiation, refuses to obey the rules that define our concept of matter. And yet its gravitational influence is so powerful that it sculpts the universe from the shadows, silently orchestrating the dance of galaxies, dictating the behavior of cluster formations, and bending the trajectory of ancient starlight with the authority of an unseen emperor. And this invisible mass is what we call dark matter, though in truth that name is merely a desperate placeholder, a linguistic bandage wrapped around our ignorance, because the more precisely we measure its effects, the more painfully we realize how utterly clueless we are about its true nature. Our galaxies rotate so quickly that without this unseen mass, they should fling themselves apart like whirlpools, losing cohesion. Galaxy clusters drift in their orbits as if tethered to colossal invisible anchors. And the phenomenon of gravitational lensing reveals that enormous ghost-like structures warp space-time itself even when telescopes detect nothing at all, meaning that dark matter is not sprinkled randomly throughout the universe, but forms an intricate cosmic web, a majestic three-dimensional lattice stretching across billions of light-years, with visible galaxies merely glowing nodes resting on this hidden scaffolding, like beads clinging to the wires of a vast, invisible machine. And yet, despite its influence on the structure of everything, we have never touched it, never captured it, never produced it in a laboratory, and never observed even the faintest hint of its composition. Some theories suggest exotic particles, WIMPs or axions, drifting through your body right now by the trillions, completely undetected, while others propose that dark matter is the gravitational echo of extra dimensions, hidden realms curled tightly beneath the Planck scale, spilling their gravity into our universe in ways that mimic invisible mass. And more daring hypotheses argue that dark matter could be an entire mirror universe, a parallel cosmic ecosystem made of mirror particles, mirror stars, even mirror galaxies, evolving alongside us, unreachable and undetectable except through the faint tug of its gravity. While some physicists push even further, suggesting dark matter might not be matter at all, but a structural feature of space-time, a sign that gravity itself may be emergent, not fundamental, and that space-time might be woven from a vast quantum information network whose invisible architecture manifests as the gravitational anomalies we struggle to explain. And if that idea is true, then dark matter is not an object, but a property, not a particle, but a geometry, not a substance, but the hidden mathematical skeleton of existence itself. And as our instruments grow more precise, as detectors sink deeper beneath the Earth, as satellites scan wider segments of the heavens, as particle accelerators slam reality together in search of answers, the silence of dark matter becomes louder, almost taunting, as if the universe is telling us that the thing we are missing is not small, not technical, not a detail, but a revolution, a complete rewrite of what reality is, how it forms, and what it means to exist. And later in this documentary, when we explore the architecture of space-time, the possibility of multiple dimensions, the quantum fabric beneath the cosmic web, and the idea that our universe might be only one layer in an unimaginable multidimensional structure, you will see how dark matter is not just missing mass, but potentially the first clue, the first crack in the facade of the universe. The subtle evidence that our reality is far stranger, far deeper, and far more complex than the 4.9% we mistake for the whole.
If dark matter is the universe's hidden skeleton, shaping its structure from the shadows, then dark energy is its relentless cosmic heartbeat, a mysterious, all-pervasive force driving galaxies apart with increasing, almost terrifying determination, a force responsible for nearly 68% of everything that exists, yet one that defies every law, every equation, every assumption we thought we understood about how the universe works. Because where dark matter pulls, dark energy pushes, stretching the very fabric of space-time, accelerating the expansion of the universe faster and faster, as though reality itself is being pushed outward by an invisible tidal wave. And here is where the story turns darker, stranger, and far more existential. Dark energy is not staying constant, it is growing stronger with time, which means the universe is not just expanding, it is accelerating its escape from itself. Galaxies drifting away from one another like rafts carried by a current we cannot control, cannot stop, and cannot even comprehend. And when we project this acceleration into the unimaginable future, into the deep cosmic epochs tens of trillions of years from now, a haunting image emerges. A universe so stretched, so diluted, so empty that galaxies will lie beyond each other's cosmic horizon, their light forever unreachable. Meaning that no matter how advanced a civilization becomes, no matter what technology it creates, no matter how powerful its telescopes, engines, or theories may be, it will one day look into its night sky and see absolutely nothing beyond the borders of its own galaxy. A sky without neighbors, without clusters, without cosmic history. A silent, lonely darkness where the universe becomes effectively unknowable, isolating every civilization in a cosmic solitude that lasts forever, long after the last stars fade, long after the galaxy's remaining light dissolves into infrared embers, long after black holes evaporate into quantum mist, long after time itself stretches into incomprehensible scales. But don't panic, because that distant, desolate era lies so far beyond our lifespan, so far beyond the lifespan of Earth, the Sun, and even the atoms composing your body, that worrying about it would be like an ant stressing about the heat death of the multiverse. So, let's pause for a moment, take a breath, insert a quick pattern interrupt before the existential dread kicks in too hard, and remind ourselves, humans won't be around for any of that. So, moving on.
Black holes are not objects in any conventional sense. They are regions where space-time itself collapses under the weight of its own gravity, where the familiar scaffolding of reality, the rules of physics, the flow of time, and even the trajectory of light all break down like fragile glass under impossible pressure. To approach a black hole is to enter a theater of cosmic horror and wonder. Time slows to a crawl near the event horizon. A single second for an outsider may stretch into millennia for an infalling observer. And light bends, twists, and vanishes, creating visual distortions that make the universe itself appear to warp and bleed into itself. Inside, the very concept of the known universe ceases to exist. Matter is compressed beyond comprehension. Electrons, protons, and neutrons are obliterated, and all that remains is a singularity, a point of infinite density where our current laws of physics fail entirely, and mathematical infinities mock our understanding. Yet the terror is not just in the crushing gravity or the obliteration of matter, but in what physicists call the information paradox. Black holes appear to erase information about the matter and energy that falls into them, violating one of the foundational principles of quantum mechanics, which asserts that information cannot be destroyed. If black holes truly erase information, that every particle, every memory, every structure that falls in is lost forever, and the universe itself breaks its own rules. If they do not, then the answer must lie hidden in layers of reality we have not yet comprehended, perhaps encoded in the surface of the event horizon in the form of holographic information, or preserved through subtle quantum processes we are only beginning to glimpse. Some of the most daring and controversial theories suggest that black holes are cosmic wombs, seeds for entirely new universes, expanding inward into dimensions we cannot observe, where their singularities bounce outward to spawn new space, new time, and new physical laws, each universe a child of the previous, a chain of universes stretching infinitely backward and forward through an unseen multiverse. Imagine that,
the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, silently spinning in darkness, could already contain an entire embryonic universe, inaccessible, invisible, yet growing with every second. Others propose that black holes are wormholes, natural shortcuts through space-time, corridors connecting distant points in our universe, or perhaps gateways to realms that defy the very notion of location and direction. And yet, despite decades of observation, advanced simulations, and the Event Horizon telescope capturing the first-ever image of a black hole's shadow, we have barely scratched the surface. Their true nature is both terrifying and exhilarating, a paradox, a puzzle, and perhaps the closest point where science touches the sublime. In this documentary, we will trace the evidence suggesting that black holes are not merely cosmic destroyers, not just monstrous pits of gravity consuming everything nearby, but potential creators of universes, custodians of information, and mirrors reflecting the deepest, strangest truths about the cosmos, revealing hints that our own universe may have been born from such a collapse in some distant, ancient parent cosmos, a thought so staggering that it redefines the meaning of existence itself.
Here's a question that is at once spiritual, existential, and deeply unsettling, one that forces every human mind that contemplates it to pause and tremble. Where is everyone? The universe is unimaginably ancient, older than the oldest stars, older than the galaxies themselves, a cosmic stage that has been running for more than 13 billion years, a vast theater of matter and energy in which trillions upon trillions of stars shine across incomprehensible distances, each with its own planetary entourage, many orbiting in regions where conditions should allow life to emerge, flourish, and evolve into intelligent, technologically capable civilizations. By every statistical measure, by every calculation rooted in the laws of probability, life should not only exist elsewhere, it should be abundant, teeming, flourishing across the galaxy in 1,000 different forms, some surely far older and more advanced than humanity, sending signals, probes, artifacts, or signs of their civilizations across space. And yet, across all the light years we have observed, across every signal we have scanned, across every method of searching the cosmos for life, from radio telescopes and infrared surveys to the subtle anomalies in planetary motion, we hear nothing, not a whisper, not a flicker, not even a hint of activity from any civilization beyond our fragile blue planet. This is the Fermi paradox, a silence so profound that it demands a confrontation with the terrifying possibility that life, intelligence, or technological survival is far rarer or far more dangerous than we dared to imagine. Are we alone because we arrived early, a fledgling species in a universe still incubating civilizations that have yet to reach the stage of interstellar communication? Or are we extraordinarily late, arriving long after ancient civilizations rose and vanished, their histories and artifacts erased by the inexorable passage of cosmic time, leaving us as the lonely inheritors of a silent galaxy? Perhaps we are isolated by cosmic geography, trapped in a quiet sector of the Milky Way, where the nearest neighbors are impossibly distant, forever unreachable. But the most disturbing explanations involve existential peril. Perhaps there exists a great filter, a hidden, catastrophic barrier in the evolution of intelligent life, a universal gauntlet that destroys civilizations the moment they acquire the technological sophistication necessary to leave their planet, colonize the stars, or broadcast their presence, ensuring that most advanced species never survive long enough to make contact. Maybe the universe itself is host to a predator, a mechanism, natural or otherwise, that extinguishes civilizations silently and efficiently, leaving only the faintest traces of their existence.
Or perhaps the laws of physics impose invisible boundaries on interstellar expansion, limits so profound that no civilization can ever physically traverse the stars, no matter how intelligent, persistent, or technologically advanced. And the most chilling possibility of all, perhaps intelligent civilizations exist, perhaps even abundantly, but some cosmic truth, a law, a danger, or a self-preserving instinct compels them to remain silent, to hide their presence, or to annihilate themselves before detection, creating a galaxy that is alive yet eerily mute, vibrant yet empty to our instruments, teeming yet forever unknowable. Later in this documentary, we will examine the most terrifying hypotheses whispered in the corridors of theoretical physics and astrobiology. Scenarios involving silent galactic empires, civilizations that self-destruct on reaching interstellar capabilities, simulated realities masking the presence of life, and the chilling possibility that the universe itself enforces silence as a rule, a natural law preventing intelligent species from ever meeting, ever communicating, ever revealing themselves, leaving us with the cosmic horror of the Fermi paradox, that the universe may not only be vast and empty, but actively silent, a stage of infinite possibility in which we may be the first, the last, or simply another fleeting spark swallowed by the dark infinity, a profound loneliness echoing across the cosmos, challenging every assumption about life, existence, and the nature of intelligence itself.
All these mysteries, dark matter's invisible scaffolding, dark energy's accelerating push, black holes tearing the laws of physics apart, the cosmic silence that questions our place in existence, and the quantum chaos that undermines our very understanding of reality, are not isolated riddles scattered randomly across the universe. They are threads of one deeper, hidden truth, quietly woven through the fabric of everything we observe. For decades, scientists treated these enigmas as separate puzzles, each belonging to its own corner of astrophysics. But with every new discovery, every anomaly we measure, every contradiction that refuses to go away, the evidence points toward a single, unified revelation. The universe we experience is only a fragment of a much larger, far more complex structure. A structure that may not be fully three-dimensional. A structure that may not be limited to our single universe. A structure that may not obey the straightforward, comforting logic we rely on. Because every strange signal, every unexplained force, every mysterious imbalance, from the rotational speed of galaxies to the invisible energy stretching the cosmos apart, implies that reality extends into domains our senses cannot detect, dimensions our instruments cannot map, and architectures our current physics cannot describe. This is the point where cosmology collides with higher dimensional mathematics, where Einstein meets string theory, where quantum mechanics whispers answers that general relativity cannot comprehend. It is here, on the edge of the unknown, that a bold idea emerges. The truth about our universe might be hiding in dimensions beyond our own. Extra dimensions that curve, fold, extend, and interact with our world in ways subtle enough to remain invisible, yet powerful enough to sculpt the entire cosmos. And that realization leads us directly into Hour 2, a descent into the deep architecture of reality itself. In the next segment, we will explore the hidden geometry of space-time, where the universe behaves less like empty void and more like a dynamic, elastic fabric with structure and tension. We will examine the idea of the multiverse, not as science fiction, but as a scientifically grounded possibility supported by inflation theory, quantum mechanics, and the strange fingerprints left in cosmic background radiation. And we will follow the physicists who believe that understanding these higher dimensions may finally reveal the true nature of existence, what reality is made of, how it is shaped, and whether our universe is just one bubble in a vast cosmic ocean. Before we continue,
ask yourself something deeply unsettling. If our universe is only one version of reality, what lies beyond it? Another universe? An infinite stack of cosmic histories? A dimension where time behaves differently? Or a realm where the laws of physics reset into something unrecognizable? Hold that thought, because the answers waiting in the next hour are stranger, grander, and far more unsettling than anything you've heard so far.
If you're ready to continue this journey, move on to Hour 2, where the mysteries deepen and the universe begins revealing its hidden blueprint. And once you finish the full documentary, don't miss the end screen video on my channel, 0 to 11 Dimensions, the True Structure of Reality. It connects directly to everything we uncover here